Let's talk about shelf-stable meals in a bag, whether it's get-out bags, get-home bags, make life simpler bags, or bags to give your neighbor in a time of need. So come along with us. We're going to be making a couple of frugal, easy weeknight dinners, beans on toast, and shepherd's pie. So come along and join me. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. We finally figured out the culprit. Why our cilantro's not growing. B, I don't mind you killing the cilantro plant. I hate cilantro. It tastes like soap, so as far as I'm concerned, good job. But your daddy, he's a little bit ticked off. You're gonna have to find another place to rest. If I fits, I sits. Y'all, I have been loving these two new finds for me. They might have been around for a while, but to me they're new. This lemon blueberry Pepperidge Farm bread is outstanding as toast. And then I put some of this Philadelphia cheesecake dip on it. And it is literally my favorite breakfast, and it's so easy to make. Just put some fresh fruit on a plate. I had some blackberries and some mandarin oranges and pineapples I needed to use up. Simple, delicious breakfast. For a mid-morning snack, I take a little bit more of this cheesecake dip. I gotta be very careful with this. And I take some of my freeze-dried fruit and dip it in like little chips. They are so good. My favorite so far is the strawberries and the pineapple. While we were out and about, we decided to take a much-needed break and go to our neighborhood hangout, the Brass Tap. I got a mimosa platter. I thought they were going to be small samples, but they were full size. Hey everybody, I hope that you're doing well. We are just staying busy with the weather being so nice. Here in Texas, it starts really getting hot around June, so we try to get as much of our gardening and our outdoor chores done as early in the year as possible. I'm also kind of going through sort of a nesting phase, if you will, just kind of trying to declutter, organize, downsize our home, just get rid of stuff. We just had a yard sale last weekend that helped a great deal. Can you see the excitement on Corey and Hazel's face? They just love yard sales. You can find a lot of great preps at yard sales too, and estate sales, so don't rule out those secondhand finds. I'm going to keep going around the house and just decluttering and getting rid of stuff that's just making me feel cramped, you know? Your home is where you should feel your most relaxed, stress-free, where you go to decompress and get away from the craziness in the world, and there's plenty of that. During the height of the pandemic, we bought a lot of prep items, and I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about like outdoor cooking equipment and books and water filtration systems and just different things like that. I don't think that an emergency is the time to familiarize yourself with how to use those things. One of the books that I've had for a couple of years now and still haven't even opened is called It's in the Bag. What this is, it's a book of meal in a bag ideas. So if you go to the grocery store around the holidays, you'll see by the register they'll have the paper sacks that have like a Thanksgiving meal or a Christmas meal that's shelf stable. Maybe throw in a pack of rolls and you can donate towards these bags. So what I'm thinking about doing is putting together some of my own meal kits, and it would kind of be a way to meal prep. And I'm not saying that we would do a shelf-stable meal every day. I think that unless we were in some kind of a die-hard SHTF situation where we didn't have much of a choice, obviously we would prefer to incorporate fresh fruits and vegetables and dairy, but I am still trying to rotate through these things. So what I want to do is I think putting together like a week's worth of meals that I can go to, maybe things that are starting to approach Best Buy dates, And I don't have to come in here and go, what should we have for dinner? It will already be decided. I will have the meals lined up, ready to go. There's times where I work late, everybody's hungry. Sometimes your brain is too fried to even think about making dinner, and then you just break down and order pizza or go through a drive-through. If you were to bug out and take one of these meals in a bag, you pretty much need everything. If a recipe calls for butter, then maybe you would use some powdered butter, or if it calls for milk, take some powdered milk. I do keep those things on hand. I don't want to open them unless it's some kind of an emergency. These can also be used to give out to neighbors or people in your community who are going through a difficult time. If you're making it for someone else, maybe put a little card in there that just says whatever the instructions are. Ziploc is safe to boil water in. So I know a lot of hikers use these so they don't have to dirty up their jet boil pot. They can just, cook in a bag and then throw it away. So that is an option. If you ever did take a bag of food to bug out or something, you would want to have a can opener. Not an electric one, but a handheld. And if you use Ziploc freezer bags, you can cook in them if necessary, where you just add the boiling water and let it sit for a while and it's good to go. A lot of prepackaged food already comes with a seasoning in it, but if it does not, or if you're just gonna do something semi-homemade or whatever, you might want to get those little containers that you can get like for your salad dressing at the Dollar Tree and put seasoning in those. So for these burritos, tortillas last forever, and they sell these at Dollar Tree, or at least the Dollar Trees in our area. And then Dollar Tree also carries this brand, which is a really good brand. We had their meatballs the other day and they were actually really good. Got one of those little cans of spaghetti sauce and just added to the mixture. And it had, I want to say it was like 10 meatballs in it. So for $1.25, this is actually the spicy seasoned beef crumbles. So I have not tried this yet, but I'm just saying this brand, the meatballs were excellent. I'm hoping that that's the case here. So we have some beans, so the girls can just do bean burritos. We have a package of rice. Now, if we were in a situation where we had no way to heat this up, would it be the best thing we ever ate? Probably not. But will it get the job done? Could we get it down? Probably so. This is one of the more lighter weight meals, so if you were in a bug out situation, this is definitely lighter than hauling around bags that have a bunch of cans in them. If you have freeze-dried shredded cheese, that's a great option. There is also this Ragu double cheese. This, I believe, came from the Dollar Tree. Mexicali white nacho cheese. This has a pop top. They've been known to break too. I would always try to have one of those handheld can openers. Now, if you had any freeze-dried onions or jalapenos, or maybe you have little packets of the picante sauce, anything that you think might jazz up your burritos, feel free to stick in a bag like this. I was struggling hard with this one. If you happen to store anything like powdered sour cream or powdered cheese, these would also be something that if you wanted to put them in one of those little salad dressing containers and just add a little bit of water. Came across this taco complete that I forgot about. As corn, red peppers, and black beans, but it also has the meat in it. This is really good as well. This next shelf-stable meal is a little bit tricky because I'm going to do a pasta salad, which you need the boiling water, but then once you cook the pasta, you're supposed to refrigerate it. But if you are out on the trail, or if you have to bug out in an SHTF situation, which I hate saying that, that sounds so fear-mongering. Obviously, I hope nothing like that ever happens in our lifetime. If it did, I'm just saying that there's a cold soak method. Instead of using hot water, you would use cold water, but you would have to soak it a whole lot longer. So whereas this probably only needs about 10 minutes, you would have to cold soak it for a couple of hours. I'm going to put together a little salad kit. You can add a protein to this if you'd like. I thought some tuna or canned chicken would go well in a pasta salad. And because this is already a cold dish, instead of putting something hot with it, I thought it'd be good to have some canned fruit, so some diced mango or pear or peaches, whatever your heart desires. You can also add like these garlic crispy onions. You could also throw some shelf-stable pepperoni in there, maybe some olives or some string cheese just to jazz it up. Okay, for this third meal in a bag, I would definitely recommend having a little container of seasoning because it's mostly canned goods. This is potato gnocchi, just potato dumplings. So this is a spin on a traditional chicken and dumpling recipe. And this would also be an example of something that if you were going to give this to someone, you might want to hook them up with some instructions so they know like how much of the cream of chicken soup to use or how much water to add. You got your peas, your carrots. If I was making this meal at home, I would probably use a little bit of milk. I've got some powdered milk. I've got some shelf-stable milk. You could get by with just using water. I would probably also add a little bit of my freeze-dried onions into a little container just to kind of give it a little texture and a little bit of flavor. For the fourth meal, I am going to do jambalaya, some red beans and rice. I thought I had some Cajun beans. If they're there in my pantry, I can't find them. So I found these buffalo black beans, different, but still got a spicy kick to go along with the jambalaya. And for the meat, I just grabbed a can of off-brand Spam. And I'm not a fan of eating this uncooked, although you can. So I would definitely fry this up to kind of get it crispy and kind of give it like a sausage taste, if you will. And obviously put additional vegetables in here. Then I just got another little can of fruit because you don't, sometimes you want to mix it up and not just have a vegetable side all the time. So I got some sliced pineapple. You could also add a can of chicken or tuna or even some pepperoni. I know jambalaya has different meat in it. For my fifth and final meal in this video, I am going to do Bear Creek's chili. I'm a big fan. I actually think this is really good. We have quite a few of these on hand, and it makes a lot. It serves 8 people. It does call for 7 cups of water and a small can of tomato paste. It's got beans in it. Then I'm also going to put some cornbread mix in there, and in a bug out situation, chances are you probably don't have a cast iron skillet, so this would be one of those meals for making at home. Cornbread mix calls for milk and an egg. So we've got some freeze-dried egg here, and like I said, they make shelf-stable powdered milk where you just add water. If cornbread's not your scene with chili, you can also do pasta, you can do crackers, you can do Fritos. The possibilities are endless. If you wanted to bulk up your chili, you could definitely add a meat, some kind of protein to it, like roast beef. Our tomatoes are growing like crazy. I love picking a few every day. Taste way better than store-bought. I used to not really have an appreciation for springtime, but I just love it more and more. We're so blessed to live in the middle of a forest, and we have all kinds of squirrels and birds around. Every window I look out, I see different birds. It is just something that I could easily stare at all day. It's so therapeutic to me. For lunch today, I'm going to be making beans on toast. This is one of my favorite simple vegetarian meals. My children love it. It's so good. You put a little bit of stone ground mustard on a piece of bread. We're using this Asiago cheese sourdough bread, I think, with a little bit of garlic in it. And then I'm going to be using some cheese. This will kind of help keep the beans from getting the bread soggy. So you can use whatever kind you want. I think I used Asiago cheese. It might have been, no, I think it was Havarti, that's right. We had some leftover beans that we made the other day that we needed to use them up. So I just piled them on top of the cheese. And then once I get that on there, we are going to take another piece of cheese and put it on top. This kind of also binds the beans in, keeps them from drying out because you're going to put it in the broiler, and it just kind of, the cheese melts and gets all golden brown. We're going to put it at 500 degrees for about 7 minutes. This is so quick and easy, and it's a very affordable meal that the whole family will enjoy. Kitty, 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 kitty. Let's see if this works. Bee, you want a treat? She must know that I'm editing a video of her right now. There's my girl. Come on, Queen Bee. For dinner this evening, I decided to make a mostly shelf-stable meal. I was really craving shepherd's pie, so I went ahead and just started gathering all the ingredients I needed from my pantry. There were a couple of things I needed to get out of the refrigerator, like the tomato paste and Worcestershire sauce, mostly because it's been opened already. I think the Worcestershire sauce can actually stay in your cabinet, but you know, for the most part, this was a shelf-stable meal. Now let's get started. With all the better than bouillons in my pantry, I was sure I would have had a beef one, but I didn't, so I had to go get that out of my long-term storage. But that's okay. We had a little piece of an onion that I wanted to go ahead and use up. I did not use the right knife. I know I was using a steak knife. I think I was doing a load of dishes in the dishwasher, and I was just making do with what I have. Just going ahead and giving this a rough chop. Next, I sprayed a little bit of oil into this pan and went ahead and put the onions in there so they could start to soften up and saute a little bit. Then I added a little bit of minced garlic. I would say I used about a tablespoon. Next, I just rinsed the meat. You don't have to do this. Some people like the additional fat. I just wanted to get as much grease off as possible. And then I added a little bit of Where's Her Sister sauce to kind of give it a rich, deep, meaty flavor. And then I put a little bit of tomato paste in there, maybe a teaspoon or so, and added a little bit of water and a little bit of this beef better than bouillon. I'm just going to give this a good mix, and we're going to turn up the heat a little bit, let it simmer for a while, and let it thicken up. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some seasonings like salt, pepper, and some Italian seasonings. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the peas and the carrots and give that a good mix. Now we're just going to go ahead and transfer this to a casserole dish, and that will allow me to spread it out and mix it up a little bit more. My pan was kind of full there, and I'm trying to break up these carrots because they're sliced, not diced. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the mashed potatoes, which are instant, and I believe they were a butter garlic. I threw in some of my freeze-dried chives and just kept adding a little bit of water till it was ready to pour into the dish. Once they were the desired consistency, it was time to go ahead and spread on top of the casserole. I just gently spooned it out all over the thing and then just kind of spread it out as gently as I could without having to mix all the ingredients up. And if the casserole mixture looked a little bit runny, that's okay because the potato starch will soak it right up. Now we're going to just stick this in the oven and bake it at about 400 for about 30 minutes. Corey and I polished off half this pie in one setting, and then we finished it up for leftovers the following day. It was so good. We decided to walk off that big dinner, and Hazel met herself a little friend named Gunner. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.